What if I told you that the most secure building on the planet was robbed in broad daylight in just 8 minutes? No high-tech hacking, no invisibility cloaks, just a truck, a lift, and a group of men who walked right through the front door of history. In 2025, the Louvre didn't just lose its jewels, it lost its reputation. Today, we are breaking down the heist that humiliated France and the insane security failures that made it all possible. Trust me, you've never seen a robbery like this. Welcome to Truthful. If you're liking what you see, let me know in the comments. And now, let's dive into the story. You won't believe how the world's most secure museum, a fortress that survives on high-tech sensors and elite guards, was completely cleaned out in broad daylight in a heist. So daring it felt like a Hollywood movie. But the fallout was terrifyingly real. Imagine it's October 19th, 2025, a routine morning at the iconic Louvre in Paris, where the air is filled with the chatter of tourists and the click of cameras. Everything seems perfect until 8:30 a.m., when a massive furniture truck casually pulls up to the side of the museum, facing the River Seine. No one suspected a thing because, honestly, who would try to rob the Louvre with a giant truck in front of everyone? But this wasn't just any truck. It was equipped with a heavy-duty mechanical lift that started rising towards the first floor, targeting the legendary Galerie d'Apollon, the room where the crown jewels of France are kept. Out jump 4 men wearing bright yellow and orange construction vests to blend in, but their faces are hidden behind dark balaclavas, creating a scene of pure, no-way disbelief for anyone watching. They reach the balcony, whip out an industrial-grade disc cutter, and start slicing through a thick, reinforced glass wall like it's paper. The sparks are flying, the mechanical screech is echoing against the historic stone, and suddenly, bam! The main security alarm screams through the entire museum. You've probably felt that heart-pounding panic before. But for the guards inside, it was a nightmare coming to life as they realized that despite all the lasers and cameras, someone was literally cutting their way into history. The guards rushed in, but the thieves didn't flinch. They pointed their high-powered industrial tools at the staff like weapons, forcing them to back off, while the entire museum descended into total chaos and tourists were frantically evacuated, not knowing if this was a robbery or something much more sinister. But here's the thing that really trips people up and makes you think, how did they even plan this? The thieves weren't panicked or rushing like amateurs. They were icy calm, even as the chaos unfolded around them. While the police were struggling through Paris traffic, and the staff was busy clearing the rooms, these 2 men were inside the gallery with surgical precision, smashing the display cases that held the very soul of French royalty. They weren't just grabbing random gold. They knew exactly what they wanted. And they ignored some of the world's most famous diamonds, like the 60 million euro Regent Diamond, or the Santho, leading experts to believe this was a custom job for a private collector. Within minutes, they had snatched 9 of the most valuable items in existence. But here is where it gets intense. As they were scrambling back through the jagged hole in the glass, the 170-year-old crown of Empress Eugénie got stuck because the hole was too small. They forced it through, causing massive damage and scratches. And in the rush to get down the mechanical lift, the crown actually fell onto the road. They didn't even stop to pick it up. They hopped onto waiting scooters, driven by their accomplices, and sped off toward the A6 motorway, leaving a trail of smoke as they tried to torch the truck to erase every single fingerprint. If it wasn't for a brave museum staff member who jumped in to put out the fire, the police would have had zero evidence. The entire operation, from parking that truck to vanishing into the Paris ring road, took exactly 8 minutes. It was a surgical strike that left the French Ministry of Culture in a state of total mourning, as they realized that priceless pieces of history were now gone. That is when the investigation revealed a truth that is honestly kinda crazy and shows how even the most secure places have massive holes. When the feds started digging, they found out that in the wing where the heist happened, 1 in every 3 rooms had 0 CCTV coverage, basically a blind spot for criminals to play in. Even worse, the localized alarm on that specific balcony had been broken for days, meaning the guards only knew something was wrong when the main building alarm went off, giving the thieves a massive head start. The loss was staggering. They took Empress Eugénie's tiara and brooch, Empress Marie-Louise's emerald necklace and earrings, and the sapphire sets of Queen Marie Amélie. These weren't just jewels. They were 19th century masterpieces covered in thousands of diamonds and sapphires. While the raw materials are worth about $2 million, their historical value is literally unquantifiable. The museum director was so humiliated, she resigned immediately, though her resignation wasn't accepted because the government needed answers. This heist joined the Dark Hall of Fame, alongside the 1911 Mona Lisa theft and the 1976 theft of King Charles II. If Puentes sword. Fast forward to a few days later, and after processing over 150 DNA samples and fingerprints from the abandoned helmets and gloves, the police finally arrested 2 suspects on October 25th. One of them was a known gold thief, proving that the feds are close, but the masterminds and the 8 remaining jewels are still missing. This wasn't just a robbery. It was a wake-up call that even the most famous structures on Earth are vulnerable to someone with enough guts. A mechanical lift and 8 minutes of perfect timing. The Gallery of Apollo remains a ghost of its former self, a dark reminder that centuries of history can be wiped away in the blink of an eye.